604 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane off and running. Brian here with you. John LaBeouf producing. Starting you off at not a kind of a foggy morning, but it is a foggy morning. 70 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Getting you ready for a jam-packed show today. We'll talk with Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics. We will talk with Dixon McMakin. We've got Michael Pasquier on the docket for today, talking about the passing of Pope Francis. In the 8 o'clock hour, let's talk about Second Chance Week and the Parole Project. Andrew Hundley is going to join us at 8:15. And then we're right back to LSU for Dr. Jennifer Manning, talk about some new programs they've got going on. But before we get to anything, we start off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
A new bill that would establish rules for a school system for the city of St. George could let students cross district lines. The bill, authored by State Senator Rick Edmonds, would see the St. George Community School System and the EBR school system enter into an agreement allowing students in St. George to enroll in schools in East Baton Rouge. Now, if passed, voters would need to approve a constitutional amendment to get that done.
Number 4.
Emil Edwards, father of East Baton Rouge Mayor President Sid Edwards, died on Sunday, 84 years old. Funeral arrangements have not yet been announced.
Number 3.
State health officials announced a variety of collaborations on Monday intended to fight waste, fraud, and abuse in agency programs and pledged to reduce overdose deaths among pregnant women. A new task force will involve collaboration with other government entities, including cross-referencing information from the Office of Motor Vehicles to make sure Louisiana Medicaid recipients don't have driver's licenses in other states.
Number 2.
A Perkins Underpass revitalization project, years in the making, is expected to finally break ground this summer. This, according to Jenny Peters, the owner of Varsity Sports. Jenny was also the guest at the press club yesterday. The project will enhance landscaping, lighting, and parking, and see new bike and pedestrian paths installed, among other quality of life upgrades.
Number 1.
Well, get ready for it, because tomorrow is when you will see the new exits over at College Drive off of I-10. The department, and we'll talk about it a little bit further length later on this hour. Starting Wednesday morning, 5 a.m., the new exit ramps off 10 and 12 will be open for drivers to use. The 12 westbound exit to College Drive, that's right, 12 westbound to College Drive, you'll actually get off of 10 before you get to the 10-12 merge. The I-10 exit will be located on the flyover bridge above I-12, also before the merge. Both exits will be accessible from the right-hand side of the interstate. What's trending, John?
Well, the education department will begin collection next month on student loans that are in default, including the garnishing of wages for potentially millions of borrowers.
So we went from people being told, this is where I get triggered very quickly.
Yeah.
We had 4 years of Joe Biden and 4 years of people being told, hey, your student loans are probably going to be forgiven. Your student loans are probably going to be forgiven. We had 4 years worth of excuses to put things off. And now it's going to go in the reverse to where, hey, you should have been paying the whole time. And you probably should have. But to lull, for people to be lulled in that false sense of security there, student loans, it's only a matter of time before they get this done and they all get forgiven. I there's a part of me that actually feels for those who have the loans out there that they weren't paying on. Now, you ought to pay what you owe. You ought to pay what you owe. Absolutely.
Yep.
But at the same time, though, it's like, man, I get it. Good news is you got time to get right.
Yes. And when you were promised something like that, I mean, of course, maybe you shouldn't have taken them at their word. You know what I mean? You should have maybe continued to pay.
Yeah, don't believe it until it's real.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene is receiving waves of backlash on social media after she posted on X after the Pope Francis passing, appearing to celebrate the pontiff's death at the age of 88.
She's not the only one. There's a lot of people that didn't like this Pope, and they're taking it way too far. It's
one thing to disagree, but it's another to celebrate in the death of someone, right?
Right.
I mean, that's
right.
That's another level that we shouldn't reach, but
But here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Well, there are just 4 more days left before Chinese e-commerce sites like Shein and Temu will raise prices due to recent tariff increases. Both companies issued recent notices announcing the price increases, which will take effect on April 25th.
Okay, so is everybody just going to binge shop the next 4 days?
I bet they will.
You think that's going to happen? I think that might happen.
Yeah, probably
We
so.
might see some binge shopping going on. It's like normally if you wait till right before school to get the kids new shoes.
Right?
No. That might happen this week. That might happen before school's out. Round up by a size.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Man.
I'm curious to see, number one, how many people do the binge shopping, and number two, whether or not the tariffs hold up. If they don't kick in, it's like we had all these sales, but we had all these sales in this 4-day window.
Right.
Everybody bought
Nothing
in,
happened.
and nothing happened.
Oh. Man.
Just as a consumer,
Yeah.
amidst all the tariff talk, was it a State Farm commercial? It was an insurance commercial of some sort, where you had an old fisherman with $1 on a fish.
Oh, yeah.
Almost got it.
I believe
Oh,
it was
you almost got it.
Progressive.
I feel like we're in like a perpetual state of that.
Oh,
Oh, almost there.
almost.
610 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We're coming up on our first break. Before we do take that break, though, got to remind you the Dreams Come True Radiothon continuing all month long. Talk 107.3 in the Baton Rouge Clinic, bringing you the 2025 Dreams Come True Radiothon. Now, Dreams Come True is an organization designed to help grant dreams for children, local children with life-threatening illnesses and their families. The following businesses have also pledged to match your donations throughout the month: Lewis Mechanical, Patient Plus, and Action Industries Plus, Subaru of Baton Rouge, Service Chevrolet, Luba, and Duplessis Pool Builders. Visit talk1073.com to help us reach our goal, and together we can make dreams come true. I can tell you there's some other cool stuff going on along with the Dreams Come True Radiothon. We'll get to that as the show wears on. 611, Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break, come back. Let's talk LSU baseball, LSU softball next. There we go. Jeez. I was wondering if that's going to happen. 6:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. It is sports time. It's sports time in exactly 60 seconds. Got to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank. LandmarkBankLA.com is the website. LandmarkBankLA.com. All right. Landmark Bank was founded over 100 years ago as a community bank. And over the course of 100 years, now more than 100 years, they have morphed and changed and redirected into being a community bank. And that is to say, they haven't changed at all. They have stuck to the formula for over 100 years now. If you're in one of the surrounding areas around Baton Rouge, if you're in Zachary, if you're in Clinton, if you're in Brewley, if you're in Denham, check out landmarkbankla.com. In fact, go to landmarkbankla.com to see where the nearest location is to you. What you get with a community bank is a banker, someone who knows what your wants, needs, and desires are, someone who knows what your dreams are, that when you want to buy that next house, if you're looking to upgrade, move into something larger, you outgrew your home, they're here to help you with a loan. If you are looking to dive into the world of entrepreneurship, they can help get your business started. LandmarkBankLA.com is where you're going to start. Been at it for over 100 years now. No plans to change it anytime soon. LSU baseball. Back in the box tonight, hosting Northwestern State. 6:30 p.m. is your first pitch. Northwestern State comes into Baton Rouge with a winning record overall. They are 24-17. I mean, obviously, LSU's a little bit better than that in a much tougher conference. The Tigers right now come into the game at 34-7 overall. The Demons bring with them a roster that actually has a couple of names that you might recognize from here in town. Well, maybe not. If you follow if you follow Baton Rouge Community College, Connor Wilson played there last year. He's a left-handed pitcher on the Demons roster. You might also recognize, crud, I lost the, from just down the way in Pierre Part. Bryce Leonard played at Ascension Catholic, another local guy who's up on that Demons roster playing, will be playing in Alec Box Stadium tonight. There's a couple more. I'm not going to scroll through the whole roster here. Also down in Ascension Parish, coming from Santa Ma, Reese LaPoma. He's an outfielder, redshirt senior, playing for the Demons. So you got some familiar names. That's one of the things I love about the in-state games. I know they're not always the most popular games out there, but you do get to see some of the guys who played here locally, in the past, who maybe didn't go on to play for LSU. And when they come in for playing LSU, this is a big night playing in the box, Dylan Marino from Zachary High. He's another one that falls into that category. LSU and, going back to Ascension Catholic, Brooks Leonard is on the roster as well. LSU and Northwestern State, 6:30 p.m. for first pitch. 6 p.m. Is your pregame show over on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Meanwhile, softball is back at it, and you will hear softball right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Beth Tarina and her Tigers, currently 36-10 on the season. It's been a little bit tougher in conference play, to be sure, because the Southeastern Conference is absolutely brutal. Beth Tarina's Tigers, though, taking on McNeese. I'm sorry, not McNeese. Louisiana. Darn it. No, I was right. They are taking on McNeese tonight. I just had the wrong McNeese game. They played at McNeese a couple weeks ago. Taking on McNeese tonight in Tiger Park, 6 p.m. first pitch, 5:45 start time, right here on Talk 107.3 FM. Patrick Wright will be on the call on the LSU Sports Radio Network. By the way, both baseball and softball will stay home this weekend. The baseball Tigers will be hosting Tennessee for a 3-game set. The softball Tigers have a 3-game set versus Florida right here over the weekend. We'll have more on that as the week wears on. Checking that forecast real quick, the hour-by-hour forecast, because we are expecting rain, right? So taking a look at it, to see if there would be any changes to start times and whatnot. It's supposed to rain all afternoon. So just keep an ear out. Keep an ear right here on Talk 107.3 FM. If there's any changes, we'll have them for you. Here's the Fox Business Report. We're actually looking pretty good on the interstates right now. 12 westbound coming in from Livingston Parish is, well, if you're out in Denham Springs, a little bit lighter than normal. Now, heads up, a lot of fog out there to be sure. But as you're on 12 westbound, it's the volume is not where it's normally at for this time of morning. 12 eastbound, we do have some congestion reported from around 15 minutes ago. 12 east by O'Neill. Now that's going opposite way of most of our morning traffic, so I wouldn't really worry about that. Moving over to 10 westbound coming in from Ascension Parish, we look great. 10 eastbound coming in from West Baton Rouge, we look great. You heard Ray in the last traffic report let us know that due to the heavy fog, the Plaquemine Ferry not going to be running for a little while. I'm sure as the sun comes up and some of the fog burns off, that will change. Both bridges are looking good, and 110 is looking good as well. Hopping off. Whoa. Hang on. Just a quick second here. We do have one stalled vehicle that was reported in the roadway. Now, this is almost 40 minutes ago, so it's probably gone by now. 10 eastbound near Highland Nicholson exit. So I guess that would be on the upslope of the bridge. I'm not showing any delays as a result of it, but it is on the board, so I do report it. Meanwhile, surface streets, we got an accident that's been pushed off the roadway. Nicholson at Roosevelt, another accident off the roadway being worked by BRPD. Florida at Longbow, and that is what is on the big board in the Shaw Bills Tower Traffic Center. .624 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Budget talks up on Capitol Hill are continuing right now. A lot of sticking points. One of the ideas being floated is about a millionaire's tax. Senator John Kennedy was on Meet the Press over the weekend, largely talking about the guy who got deported to El Salvador. But on the back end of the interview, it was incorporated in there, asking about his level of potential support for a tax of upping the tax rate on millionaires from 37% up to 40%. Here is the full back and forth, because I don't want to do like selective, here's your gotcha quote, especially with Senator Kennedy, who can get you some good gotcha quotes from here and there. But here's the full back and forth from Senator Kennedy on Meet the Press on Sunday.
Senate Republicans split right now, Senator, over whether to allow tax hikes on wealthy Americans as a part of that budget bill that you're trying to pass. Bloomberg News is reporting that the House proposal would set the rate at 40% for taxpayers earning $1 million or more per year. That's up from the current top tax rate of 37%. Senator, would you support increasing the tax rate on wealthy Americans?
I'm not sure yet. I'd like to see the language. Here are my thoughts, Kristen, generally. I don't believe in making tax policy on the basis of class warfare. Mm-hmm. And I think the people who are raising this issue, they're entitled to, of course, but they're asking the wrong question. I listened under President Biden, my Democratic colleagues for 4 years asked, who needs to pay more in taxes? That's, to me, is the wrong question. The right question is what the hell happened to the money? And I hope that's the question that we address fundamentally in the reconciliation.
But, Senator, it sounds like you're leaving the door open to the possibility that you could ultimately at some point support an increase in taxes if you thought it was the best way to get that budget bill over the finish line?
Well, we're in the process of putting the bill together. And here's what will probably happen. The House and the Senate will spend about, hopefully no more than 60 days trying to reach a consensus. Everything's on the table. Mm-hmm. We won't reach a consensus. And then we'll have to go to the White House and meet with the president. And after a few hugs and a cup of hot cocoa, the president will arbitrate here and say this is in and this is out, and then he's going to have to put his muscle behind it to pass it. But this bill is important. It's our way of lowering prices. You lower prices by cutting spending, by deregulating the economy, and by designing a tax code that looks like somebody designed it on purpose in a way that stimulates growth so wages go up.
Senator,
And that's my objective in all this.
Senator, we are almost out of time, but as you know, tensions.
That was the end of it. She moves on and talk about Jerome Powell. Anyway, the idea of upping the tax rate on millionaires, you're going to see a lot of headlines about how it's going to generate $400 billion. What gets conveniently left out of the headline, and this is one of the things that just, over a decade, you raise the tax rate on billionaires from 37% to 40%. It will generate an extra $400 billion over the course of a decade. Not this year. And you're not fixing any major budget problems by doing it. Now, if the country needs the money, the country needs the money. That's fine. But you heard John Kennedy right there asking the right question. It's not so much who needs to pay more. It's a matter of where's all the money going now. And you can't let one be a stalemate on the other. Understood, right? The country does still have to function. But with all the work that DOJ is doing right now in finding waste, fraud, and abuse, where are the fruits of that labor? Are we not seeing that turn? Like I'm stuck on this, and this just, outsider looking in, right? I'm just sitting here as a taxpayer who just filed my taxes 2 weeks ago, or a little over a week ago. As that person, I'm wondering, the money I just signed over to the government, why do you still need it with all the DOJ stuff going on? Now, I'm not a millionaire by any stretch. Let's be very, very clear on that front. So this wouldn't affect me. It wouldn't affect most of the folks in this audience or any audience. But that being said, it does beg the question, is like, how is it on the one hand, we're being told on a daily basis that Elon Musk is completely dismantling our government. We're being told on a daily basis that, everybody's been let go, everybody's fired, all this, all that. And then on the other hand, we're being told, well, we got to generate more revenue. Am I the only one that thinks this doesn't really work out on the balance sheet? By the way, that $400 billion number comes from the budget lab at Yale, projecting $420 billion over a decade. The Tax Foundation says the number is closer to $358 million. So we still don't know just how much it would be. Here's news. Good morning, Christy. Welcome in. I assume you're up. I hope you're up. I actually no, I hope you're sleeping. That's tomorrow. Did he say tomorrow? Okay. I was only half paying attention. I don't. Debbie, that's the right question. Why is the budget being voted on now when Doge isn't done yet? Mm-mm-mm-mm. We're looking at rain at some point today, probably most of the afternoon and beyond. With your full forecast, here's WBRZ meteorologist Tim Cowan. State Representative Dixon McMakin has a stack of bills he's working on at the state capitol. We're going to get to him at 7:15 this morning and talk about hopefully all of them. In the meanwhile, we head down to New Orleans real quick. Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics, hops on every Tuesday. Jeff, how are you this morning?
Hey, doing great, Brian. Good Tuesday morning to you.
Glad to have you on this morning. Let's start with the headlines. A second case of measles found in the New Orleans area. Is this a story down there, or is these just two like one-offs that are coupled with a slow news week?
I think that could be it. I mean, we're talking about two cases. Looks like these people traveled internationally. According to Ralph Abraham, the Surgeon General, it's not infectious, the older case. So, I mean, I guess it's a story because nationwide we had a few hundred cases, right?
Yeah.
2 deaths, 2 children, but I'm not hearing much about it, throughout the area. But how about you? I mean, are you worried about this?
I'm more worried about where the headlines are going and how this is going to be spun, if that makes sense. Does this get spun into we now have an anti-vax mentality in America? Like, is that where this is headed?
Well, I think it could be headed that, Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Right.
is, responsible for these dangers and he's a radical anti-vax nut. And because of that, people are dying. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not trying to minimize anybody's individual pain. I mean, 2 children have died. Yes, absolutely. And there's 2 cases in New Orleans that are being isolated right now. One of them is no longer contagious or infectious. So, but at the same time, though, it's like I realize how rare measles are these days, and I realize that and look, I'm the father of 3 vaccinated kids, so I'm in that corner, to be sure. But
Right.
to see something made out of this that isn't there, like timelines aren't going to match up between when kids can be vaccinated and when RFK Jr. took his post. And yet I have a feeling over the course of the next week, if the Pope didn't die, we'd already be there.
Right.
That's that. Yeah.
No, I think there's a definite effort to try to get really all the Trump administration, but I think there's a special hatred towards RFK Jr. And
which
I've
makes
been
no
following
sense.
him
He was.
closely.
Say again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I said I've been following him closely. Seems reasonable to me. I mean, he doesn't seem like some kind of radical extremist.
No, and he's been a Democrat his whole life. The up is down, left is right. I don't understand anything anymore. For example, Jeff, the whole Maha movement is I might be on an island in this one too, but isn't everything being pushed with the Maha movement everything that Michelle Obama was trying to push when it came to nutrition and education?
Well, I think there's a lot of similarities. Better nutrition for our children, trying to get some of these chemicals and preservatives out of foods. I mean, even trying to follow some of the examples from Europe, and those are pretty progressive countries.
Right.
But I mean, they have banned certain chemicals from food that we are now ingesting. So that is a problem. So I think what he's doing, taking on big ag and big pharma and so forth, very admirable. So give him a chance, for goodness sakes.
Oh, I know.
I really, the man just started. I mean, seems to be making progress, but they'll use everything they can to try to hurt him.
No, yeah, completely. And as parents, it's parents' job to take care of their kids' health. And HHS secretary does not determine anything. I'll listen to our pediatrician, and that's about it.
Right.
I'll listen to our pediatrician, and I'll listen to my wife.
The MMR vaccines, and kids can't have the vaccination. He's not saying that.
No, he was more along the lines of, when you come up with a vaccination that's created through something called Operation Warp Speed, you might want to push the brakes for a quick second.
Right.
We get Jeff Crouere with us.
Yeah, and if you want to take it, fine. And if you don't want to take it, that's your right as an American.
Let's talk about the river real quick, man. Pasquier Spillway is supposed to be opening up. How big of a story is that in New Orleans right now?
Not that big, but I do think it could be because we could be looking at something that we haven't seen in a few years. I mean, I guess it's been about 5 years or so since they've opened parts of the spillway.
Yeah, and I'm rewinding the clock all the way back to 2011, how bad it got then. I mean, I'm hoping we don't have a repeat of that.
Right. And all of it is really dependent on, what their measurements are. And I guess there's been lots of rain up north and, so we're just dependent on that river. And I trust, hopefully, the Army Corps of Engineers to handle it correctly. And I'm sure it will start becoming a bigger story as we get further along. But from what I understand, I mean, I guess they're going to be, they're still testing, huh, Brian?
Yes, testing's going on. I want to say yesterday and today, before they move forward with anything else. Jeff, where I start seeing the stories though up here is just north of Baton Rouge. We start getting stories and reports of like more animals on roadways, black bears coming out of the woods into people's backyards and whatnot. When that starts happening, that's when you know the river's getting to be a problem.
Right. Exactly. And it's due to the fact that we live here, Brian. This is what we have to deal with.
No, that's I guess y'all have the reverse, right? When it gets too dry, that's when the alligators start crossing the interstate.
And that's when I really start to worry, when it gets too low. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, because when you think about it, Jeff, when it gets too low, you have serious economic problems as well because you can't get boats up and down the river.
And that's the lifeline of our economy. Exactly.
Right. We've seen that. That chapter of the book as well. Moving over to the state legislature, what's got your eye after 1 week?
You know, I'm fascinated watching Governor Landry and just seeing some of the legislation. Did a local TV piece about this HB 576 insurance bill, and just the sort of tension between Landry and the insurance commissioner. I've had the insurance commissioner on recently, and hopefully we'll have the governor on. There's also tension between the governor, obviously, and Woody Jenkins. So I'll be interested to hear what the senator says about this upcoming, I guess it's a representative about the legislation about the East Baton Rouge Republican Party, and that's a big controversy. So I don't know, some fireworks already.
Yeah, and it's looking like so. The vibe up here, Jeff, the honeymoon's not over for that freshman class from last year. They are pretty tight knit. And Representative McMakin is part of that class. That's a pretty tight knit coalition. I wouldn't call them but it's a caucus. I mean, they can roll together and really create some great reform. But what we're starting to see here is of everyone who was elected in 2023, whether you're talking about the governor or the insurance commissioner, all the go along to get along, we're starting to get to that spot now where it's like, okay, if we want to see real progress, we've got to dig our feet in, and it's not all Mr. Nice Guy anymore.
Right, and people have different ideas, and that's what we have to hear about and debate, because we got real problems, and insurance is a major problem. I mean, it's something I hear about. That's what I'm constantly flooded with people complaining about it and outraged about it. So, yeah, I understand. I mean, is it the insurance companies? Is it the trial lawyers? Is it the balanced approach? Is it both? But I think people are expecting progress on that issue this session.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to be following closely.
Speaking of which, you're down Morris Bart's way. Could he appear a little more butthurt? I mean, he didn't get invited on the turkey hunt, and he's like all fatutzed about it.
He's a shrewd guy. I think he's using this to get some more publicity. Not that he needs any. I mean, my gosh, I mean, he's everywhere. You just drive anywhere in the state, turn on any TV, he's there. I mean, he has been a dominant fixture literally for decades. So, yeah, this is something that's giving him some more publicity, and, he's taking advantage of it. So I know that critics are saying, hey, well, the governor's got his favorite trial attorneys, and then Morris Bart's not one of them.
I mean,
so he's not going to be going after a lot of trial attorneys, but he can go after Morris Bart because he's a Democrat.
Yeah. But when you return volley on that, all you're doing is lengthening the news cycle.
Right. Yeah, and there's a way to do it where you just, you accept the attention and then just sort of gracefully end it. But yeah, if you want to continue the news on it, then you're going to continue to get attacked.
Yeah. Well, when your courtside seats for the Pelicans aren't providing any entertainment, then I guess you got to go elsewhere for it.
I think it might be a while before those courtside seats are worth much, based on what I can tell, Brian.
Oh man, he is Jeff Crouere, host of Ringside Politics down in New Orleans. You got a show to get to, man. We always appreciate you carving out a couple minutes.
Okay, Brian. Thank you.
Yep, we'll talk to you next week. Coming up on 649 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Ooh, I'm getting my daily reminder here that I have not made my appointment at Vex European yet. I got to find time this week. I am so overdue for an oil change. That's right. I go to Vex European for an oil change. It's not just major repair, standard maintenance. And here's why. You bring your car to Vex European and they follow you and your car along with getting expert level service. The service sticks so they know what your car's past is, what your car's history is, what your pressure points are with that vehicle over the lifespan of your vehicle. That way they can better, the same way your doctor keeps up with your chart, Vex European follows your car's history as well. Check them out online at vexeuropean.com. V as in Vinny. Been at it for over a decade now, celebrating a decade in business. It's vexeuropean.com. You can make your appointment right there on the website. Check out the specials tab first. See if you can't save $100 on your first visit over at vexeuropean.com. We got Your Money Now coming your way. We got traffic on the back end of that. And then we're going to talk College Drive exit next. I'm going to have to go upstairs at the top of the hour. Well, let me do that now. In fact. Oops, shit, one more. Damn it. I missed one. Printing out for Dixon. State Representative Dixon McMakin taking no prisoners. Well, he's starting some fights in the schoolyard this year, or at least I hope so. Because if you don't have a couple fights on the bills that Dixon McMakin is proposing, then you're not having any real discussion. We're going to talk about it. He wants to get rid of Katz. He wants to get rid of Breck. In their current forms, he's going to have a battle on his hand with Woody Jenkins. He's going to have a battle about a constitutional convention. He's got a lot going on this session, and he'll join us 20 minutes from right now. Before we get there, though, I think I'm going to swing by Mathern's for lunch today. I mean, I'm due for a good salad. The Mathern's salad bar downtown, at the downtown location of Mathern's, fantastic. The salad bar over there at the campus location, equally fantastic. Love it. It's light, it's refreshing, get you going, getting back to your day. Easy in, easy out. And, oh, by the way, if you got to knock out some groceries, they're here for you as well. Hey, Kenilworth area, Highland and Kenilworth area. Mathern's is back, y'all. Remember Kenilworth Supermarket back in the day? They are back. The family you miss, the prices you miss, have come back home to the OG Baton Rouge location. Mathern's is back in Kenilworth. Download the Mathern's app today. Start earning cash towards more groceries every time you shop. Yeah, I'm getting geared up for having Dixon in studio with us. I believe in studio. He might be on the phone. But coming up about 20 minutes from right now, looking forward to this. He is not shying away from anything this session, and I am absolutely loving it. I love uncomfortable conversations. I love tough conversations. It's the only way to get anywhere. I mean, think about it. If you go to the gym and you don't raise your heart rate, you're not doing anything. Same is true in the state legislature. If you're not getting to where you're uncomfortable, you're not moving your state forward. You know, Moon likes a rip on taking a step forward. It's the only way to move forward is to take a step forward. We got to take continued steps and have continued difficult discussions. I'm looking forward to this conversation next hour. Speaking of which, Moon's in studio today. All right. Coming up tomorrow morning, the new College Drive exit ramps from I-10 and I-12 westbound are scheduled to open at 5 a.m. You know, I should see if we get Rodney on the show tomorrow morning as the opening happens in the 6 o'clock hour. They'll open at 5 a.m. We'll get Rodney. We'll see if we can't get Rodney on to talk about it. New exit ramps will allow drivers to access College Drive from both interstates without weaving through multiple lanes of interstate traffic. This also will be an improvement for interstate drivers going beyond College Drive because they will no longer encounter vehicles that are changing lanes to get to the exit. In fact, we're already there. If you're a 12 westbound commuter and you go past College Drive, you know we're already there when you got rerouted to where 12 westbound now goes under 10 and you come out on the left side. And if you're on 12 and you're headed points beyond, tomorrow's opening of the off-ramp is great, but we've already seen the improvements from the revamping of how this whole intersection or how this whole stretch works. So the new exit for 12 will be just before the 10-12 merge. The new I-10 exit will be on the I-10 flyover bridge above I-12, also just before the merge. Both exits will be on the right-hand side of the interstates. So yeah, a little advanced planning here. You know, you got to look for College Drive before you get to College Drive. But in so doing, it's going to make it so much more convenient, so much safer. And I think that's the key right there. Safer to where you're not, you know, oh, look, there's College Drive, and you just haul off to the right and wish everybody the best of luck. That happens tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock. Moment of personal privilege before we hit the top of the hour news. Big shout out to the folks at the YMCA. Yesterday, the AC Lewis branch of the YMCA, that's Foster, right there in between Government and North Boulevard, right there next to Albertsons, opened up yesterday. The construction is finished. They're open back up again. Ooh, chef's kiss. Magnificently done. Everybody involved in that project, big thumbs up. Good job. Hour 2 is next. All right, let me go back upstairs. Shut. Why don't you say something? I've been up and downstairs all morning long. We got Keurig. I'm more than happy to go get you coffee. We got a long day. We're going to put in reels today. .705 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing, and we got a busy hour. State Representative Dixon McMakin 10 minutes from right now. We've got Michael Pasquier, a professor at LSU, talks religious studies, teaches religious studies. Let's talk about the poop at 7:35. As a heads up, next hour, it is Second Chance Week. We're going to talk with Andrew Hundley from the Parole Project at 8:15. And we're going to go back to LSU, talk about some of their medical programs, nursing program, and the like. Dr. Jennifer Manning going to join us before it's all said and done this morning. Right now, though, if I can find the proper paper, there it is. Top stories and trending.
Number 5.
A new bill that would establish rules for a school system for the city of St. George could let students cross district lines. The bill, authored by State Senator Rick Edmonds, would see the St. George Community School System and the East Baton Rouge Parish School System enter into an agreement allowing students in St. George to enroll in schools in East Baton Rouge. If passed, voters would need to approve a constitutional amendment to do so. I got to reach out to Senator Edmonds on this one. It's definitely worth talking about.
Number 4.
Emil Edwards, the father of East Baton Rouge Mayor President Sid Edwards, died on Sunday. Emil Edwards was 84 years old. Funeral arrangements have not yet been announced.
Number 3.
State health officials announced a variety of collaborations Monday intended to fight waste, fraud, and abuse in agency programs and pledged to reduce overdose deaths among pregnant women. A new task force will involve collaboration with other government entities, including cross-referencing information from the Office of Motor Vehicles, to make sure that Louisiana Medicaid recipients don't have driver's licenses in other states.
Number 2.
A Perkins Underpass revitalization project, years in the making, is expected to finally break ground this summer. This according to Jenny Peters, the founder and owner of Varsity Sports, who shared an update on the project with the Press Club of Baton Rouge yesterday. The project will enhance landscaping, lighting, and parking, and see a new bike and pedestrian path installed, among other quality of life upgrades.
Number 1.
Well, we covered in our last segment, but here we go again. The new College Drive exit ramps from I-10 and I-12 westbound are scheduled to open at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. The new College Drive exit for 12 will be just before the 10-12 merge. The new 10 exit will be on the I-10 flyover bridge above I-12, also just before the merge. Both exits will be on the right-hand side of the interstates, so no more winging it across 4 lanes. What's trending?
Well, what's trending is the education department will begin collection next month of student loans that are in default, including the garnishing of wages for potentially millions of borrowers.
Okay, so if you spent the last 4 years saying, please forgive my loans,
Ooh.
know that chapter of American history is over with, and you got to pay what you owe. So here's the good news, though. You had a month to get right. If you were in default, you got a month to get on the horn and say, let's, give me a forbearance, push what I owe back to the back end of the loan. Let's get restarted again. Do I sound like I've asked for a forbearance before?
It's,
I mean, maybe
you've been down this road before. Yeah.
Maybe I've kicked the can down the road before.
Oh, man. In other news, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene is receiving waves of backlash on social media after she posted on X hours after Pope Francis's passing, appearing to celebrate the pontiff's death at the age of 88.
She's not the only one.
Man,
I was disappointed, very disappointed yesterday to see the number of people who I love and respect who disagree with the Pope all you want. Okay, that's
right,
fine, and not every, I understand not everybody's Catholic, and I understand that even amongst Catholics, having a Jesuit Pope is going to be a bit of a different vibe. But I took so much away from this. Like, John Paul will always be my guy, right? That's Pope John Paul II. That was my formation. That was my youth, right? But I got a lot from Pope Francis, and my faith journey has gone miles and miles and miles within the last decade. And is it so hard to just shut up for a day? The guy died. Just don't post negative things. Is that so damn hard? Sorry.
No,
I got a little triggered right there.
No, but yeah, I mean, now that we're given a platform, right? I mean,
everybody's got to hear my thoughts on every damn thing.
Right. Exactly. So backlash, yeah, should be expected.
It's not like I respected her a whole lot to begin with.
Right, but still. Well, Brian, there are just 4 days left before the Chinese e-commerce sites like Shein and Temu will raise prices due to recent tariff increases. Both companies issued recent notices announcing the price increases, which will take effect on April 25th. So we better get those orders in.
I mean, are we like Black Friday in Shein and Temu right now? Are we just all out blitzkrieg of everything we want to buy?
Logged on right now.
You are not.
No, I'm not.
But
still. Oh, man.
They get good stuff over there. I'm not hating on those sites, man.
Oh no, absolutely not. My kids, if given any type of like allowance or any type of, that's where they're going.
Yeah.
Like, can I just shop Shein or Temu? I'm like, really? But
sad.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not
for cheap.
The shoes I'm wearing right now came from one of those two sites.
No way.
I don't know which one of the two because my wife bought them for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But
Oh,
it's
man.
I know.
That's cool.
Yeah. Let's talk more about my shoes. Not really. Let's talk about the Baton Rouge Metro Airport.
Yeah.
They bring you top stories and trending every day. They bring you to Washington, D.C. every day. BTR to Reagan National. Actually leaves out in just a couple minutes. Return flight comes back this evening. If you've got business in our nation's capital, stop driving all the way down the interstate to New Orleans. FlyBTR.com. FlyBTR.com. You're not going to lose the hour and a half to get to the airport. And yeah, it's an hour and a half when you factor in the parking and everything. Oh, and while we're talking about parking, let's talk about cost of parking. Then let's talk about that ginormous TSA maze. I mean, you go in, you get your boarding pass, and then you go down the escalator, and then you look at that wall of like just zip, 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 like a mouse looking for cheese, trying to get through TSA. Stay home. Support a local business. FlyBTR.com. And it's not just a direct flight to DC. Check out all the flights that they've got at FlyBTR.com. Quick break. We got Dixon McMakin next. He's at the Atlantic government. You might have to go let him in. Oh. Oh, we're nice now. You want some snacks? No, I'm good.
Hey, good morning. Good to see you.
No, I'm good. You want to see how out of breath I am? I'm telling you, an hour at the gym does nothing. One flight of stairs and I'm done. 716 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP.
Morning's Brian Haldane.
There you go.
Well, helping you out here.
And in this corner, fighting in a District 68, the first man in the ring for the Royal Rumble, because apparently you're taking on all comers. Dixon McMakin, how are you?
Hey, great to be with you, Brian. Good morning, Baton Rouge.
Anybody you're not fighting? Anybody you're not trying to start a scrap
You know, Brian,
with?
I got elected. People knew my slogan was bold, positive change. And I hear from my constituents every day, hey, our tax dollars aren't being used appropriately. We want more accountability. We want more efficiency. We want more effectiveness. Go down there. Don't be scared and do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. Hey, I tell you what, before we get into all that stuff you want to talk about, did you see the kids that had their horses in Walmart? They got arrested for that last week. You saw that a couple weeks ago?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
That was my law that arrested them for notoriety and publicity. That was what they got arrested on. I was so proud of that. That was the bill that I came up with after the Garth Brooks concert. We talked about people doing those donuts at College Drive. That's where that bill came from. That's where that law came from. And now we are seeing it put to use. No longer in Louisiana are you going to get on your TikToks, your Snappy Chats, all your Facebook Lives. We're going to arrest you. We're going to say, not here, not in our state.
Mm-hmm.
Go somewhere else and do that. I could not be more proud to have a law actually put into place and be effective. So I just want to tell you that. Pretty proud. We talked about that a lot last year.
You know, in economics, we talk about the law of unintended consequences. I think this might be one here. Because, what happened after the Garth Brooks concert was jamming up College Drive with race cars.
Yep.
Bunch of Fast and the Furious going on over there. Not so much riding a horse through Walmart. Although, once you say it out loud, the application is there.
Yep.
Completely. Where do you want to start this session?
I think I want to start, just great to be with you. The Lord is risen. It was Easter Sunday. I know you just talked about your faith and the Pope. I actually talked to the governor's staff yesterday about that. His post, Sharon and I are praying for the Pope. The first comment under it was, well, he's not praying for you. Just come on, people. Come on, people.
This is where we're at.
Yeah. Typewriter warriors out there. But, what bill you want to talk about? Let's go. Let's have some fun, Brian.
Okay. Want to start with HB 200?
HB 200. So that's great that you mentioned it as HB 200. That doesn't mean anything to me. Which bill is that? Sorry, we don't memorize bills by their numbers. I'm sorry.
No, I mean it's a fiscal session, and yet somehow you've managed to get more than a dozen of them in there, close to.
Yeah. So let's explain the rules to everybody. I'm getting kind of hit up with that. You get 5 regular bills. Okay, that's how this works in a fiscal session. 5 bills, whatever you want to talk about. You get unlimited fiscal bills. You also get unlimited local bills, local municipal bills. So most of my bills that you've seen that are filed are local municipal bills because they only talk about East Baton Rouge Parish. So for those out there want to learn about our process, 5, whatever you want to do,
you know what?
Unlimited fiscal and unlimited locals.
You know what? I'm going to let you mention that in that particular phrasing. We're going to table HB 200
okay.
for right now because HB 84, HB 86, and HB 87 are local.
Right.
84 repeals the Capital Area Transit System Act. 86 and 87 talk about BREC. Let's dive in with number 1, why the motivation to do this now, and number 2, what they actually mean.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't really know the numbers. Sorry about that. We have the 1 CATS bill and the 2 BREC bills. So the 1 CATS and one of the BREC bills take those entities, state-created entities through statute. They're created through statutes. They're a state entity, and puts them back under the mayor-president's office. Mm-hmm. So the idea is, I've always been a fan of this. We've talked about this, the movie Dave, the presidential movie Dave, where he sits down at the table with his local accountant. He says, if anybody did their books like this, they'd go out of business. And that's what we're doing in Baton Rouge right now. We have all these silos of entities out there. Why are we not putting them all together under one pot and saying, hey, we know they're duplicative services. We know they got people at both locations doing the same thing. When you have somebody doing something in an office, what you don't have is the tax dollars and those services getting out there to the people. So with CATS, that's the idea. Put it back under the mayor president. With BREC, that's the idea of that one bill. Put it back under the mayor president. I've heard from my people over and over again, hey, that bus route, you just saw it. They had a federal lawsuit against CATS and they lost. Mm-hmm. Why did they lose? Because their bus stops looked like crap and they weren't ADA compliant. And you drive around and you see that all you see is a pole in the ground, a little bitty sign.
Yeah.
When you travel to really great cities that have great public transit, you can figure it out. You can see where it's going, what's going on. Here, not possible. Same thing with BREC. Want to put it back under the mayor president's office. Name me a park. I grew up in the BREC parks. That's something that is very I know I'm the 6th youngest rep, right? I'm 38 and a half, right? Whatever that might be. But I grew up in those parks, Brian. You grew up on the North Shore. Not sure what y'all have over there. But here, I grew up in the parks. They were better run. They looked better. We wanted to be out there. I've seen a constant decline since I've gotten older of our Breck parks. Why do we have so many? Why do we have so many parks that are just in little neighborhoods? Let's focus on our community parks. Let's be better. Let's have some pride in our parks. And that's what I'm trying to get back to.
All right. So I'm a huge supporter of Breck.
Okay.
I'm a huge supporter of Breck and the Imagine Your Parks programs. We'll have Corey Wilson on, but till the day he leaves, we'll have Corey Wilson on talking about how to move Breck forward. My whole focus on this, though, is when Mayor President Sid Edwards had to go looking for, what we need versus what we want. He couldn't touch cats. He couldn't touch Breck because they're under y'all's building over there.
Yeah.
And I'm, if you want to say, put everything under the mayor's, put everything under the city parish, then everybody's playing on an even playing field. Not taking into account whether or not, because it's all, if your opinion is they're not up to standard or your opinion is they are above standard, either way, it's why doesn't Baton Rouge control Baton Rouge? That makes sense.
I agree with you. I think you would support my bill then. Did you just support it fully? That's what I heard.
No, I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
So
you talked about what you just said was, why do we have these other entities when the mayor had to look? He had to say, what do we want to do? What do we not want to do? Where are our priorities versus having entities out there that don't have to be on that list?
Yeah.
That's where the bill comes from.
So what I want to make sure of is that the programs themselves are taken care of. Yes, I want to move cats to where Baton Rouge is in control of cats, not the state legislature.
Yep.
But what I don't want to see is a Baton Rouge with no buses on the road.
Yeah, get that cough out. So one thing about these bills is if they move the entities under the city parish, is there is no change. The change comes later, and that's what, to me, everyone, Breck already did a website about these bills, and I commented on my site was, hey, they're so good at passing their audits and getting those done, they have time to get a website up to smear my bills. That's something I have a problem with. But the idea is this: nothing's going to change. Change comes after that would take effect, but we're getting it out of the state control. For years and years, people have talked about the handcuffs that our state government has on local governments. This is one of those things where it says, you mentioned it, put Baton Rouge in charge of Baton Rouge. That's what I'm trying to do.
And look, with the Breck parks, there are
too many.
They could sell off a few properties.
I agree.
They could sell off a few. And Corey has said that.
Okay, Corey has said it, Brian.
Yeah.
But who is holding him accountable to get it done? Has he sold one park in the time that he's been over there as CFO or CEO? Ask him that. Ask him that and get him on the record to say, has he done it?
But this comes back around to your bill. Who would hold him accountable? Because the state legislature is
no, he can do that.
No, he can do it. But you said who is holding him accountable for it? That's until we have a clear delineation of it's Breck. Like the BR is for Baton Rouge.
There you go.
So that's
Cats. The C is for capital.
Nope. Gonna leave that one there. Gonna leave that one there for sure. We got State Representative Dixon McMakin in with us. Okay, HB 200 picks a fight with Woody Jenkins.
No, it does not. Okay, so no, it does not. This bill has nothing to do with that. I'm very disappointed in the reporting of the Central City News, of the Advocate, that even talks about that, even brings that up. That's not what it's about at all. I'm disappointed in those agencies for doing that. Woody Jenkins has served our community, has been a Republican almost his whole life. He switched back in the day, when people switched, because that's, no longer the Democrat Party. But this is not about him. This is about the Capital Region. I'm the chair of the Capital Region delegation. The Capital Region right now, we have 9 statewide elected officials, Brian. 4 of them live in East Baton Rouge Parish. 3 of them live in my district.
Okay.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So what this bill is trying to do is saying, let's get that group together with our RPEC. Let's promote the party more in our parish. Let's get out there. Let's get out the vote. Let's do registration. Next year, we're going to have a party primary system that's coming into play. It's going to be a little confusing because it's something new. Let's get out there. Let's get ahead of that. And let's use those state officials and those other elected officials to help promote that, promote the party. And that's what it's about. So sorry that you had to read those articles, but I'm disappointed in both of those news agencies. This bill was written before, it was drafted before the vote even happened on all those amendment stuff. So this is a bill I've been working on for over a year. And so it's unfortunate that people are talking about it that way, but I have major respect for Mr. Jenkins and for the crew. And all I'm trying to do is help promote the group more And then hopefully that will come across in testimony on Wednesday.
Well, it's sticking with the constitutional amendment part of this. Let's go back to, are we looking at the possibility of a constitutional convention?
I would say 0.01% of that passing, but my bill, I actually know the number of that one. It's 586 because I was born in 86. So actually, I know that one.
Okay.
But, and you have 5 bills. That's why I know that number. I watched last year. Bo Boye had House Bill 800. You talked about that one a lot. Constitutional convention. You know, we need it in Louisiana. And the idea is if we're going to do it, we got to take the time, spend a year, do it right. That was something about Bo's bill that people didn't want to pass it on everything. And so what I did was, look, I took that into consideration. If this constitutional convention were to pass 105 seats, why did I pick 105? That's how many seats are at the Capitol and the House sides. We wouldn't have to rent the facility. People are elected parish by parish. Top 14 parishes get an extra person. Then you have all the state entities get a person as well. District attorney, the sheriff, the judges, the clerks, they all get a seat at the table. And then the governor appoints whoever he feels is missing after all that has happened. You start in December, you go to August, you meet once a month, then you present it to the people just like you did on the 74 Constitution. Do you support this Constitution? Yes or no? And you take the time, you do it right. Great bill. Will it pass? No.
Why?
But sometimes you got to write a bill to get the conversation started. I think people don't have the appetite right now to go back and do a constitution after all that fighting. The people, not me, Brian, not me. Start the Constitution Convention tomorrow. I'll be there. I'll serve as the chair. I'll take my time to do it, but others don't want to take that time and do it. So that's unfortunate, but I'm going to keep bringing this bill up every year. This will be a bill I bring up every year until we get it done. And hopefully in my lifetime during my service, we'll have a convention to get it done.
The thing here, and State Representative Dixon McMakin from District 68 is our guest this morning. The thing here is the number of people who support the idea of a constitutional convention, but always have an excuse not to do it.
Absolutely.
This is sickening to me.
Yep.
Our Constitution is 50 years old. It's completely out of date. It's been amended a billion times.
Over 200.
Yes. I was being
okay. You're in media, Brian. I need you to be accurate in your statement.
I was being hyperbolic right there. So everyone knows we need a new one.
Yep.
And the problem is there's a handful of people who make just the right amount of profit off of our backs who are going to constantly be opposed to it and constantly tell you why you shouldn't do it today. How do we get over that hump?
I think you get over this hump by drafting and filing bills like this so people can read it and people can be aware of it, talking about it on your show this morning. People can go through it and see, hey, wow, this actually does make sense. I see he took me every complaint last year, every complaint they talked about the convention, this, that, and put it in that bill. Mm-hmm. And I'm waiting to find when we come to the table this year, where hopefully Rep Chairman Boye will let me bring it to the table and at least talk about it, have those discussions to find out where are all those complaints that you have about doing it? Where are they? What can we be done about it? And then keep getting a bill, bring it forward to show people this is what it would look like.
Yeah.
Hey, look, by the way, there's 23 constitutional amendment bills this session. 23. They want to amend it 23 more times. And of all those bills, you know how many of them should be in our Constitution, Brian?
Probably none.
0.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. We got about a minute left with State Representative Dixon McMakin. Can we broaden out to just the vibe of the first week? How are things going? It feels like it's moving fast.
Yeah, I would say, you know, our freshman class, of course, this is now our 6th session, our second year, our 6th session. We had the organizational, 3 specials, and the regulars. That's 5 in year 1. Now we're on year 6. So we're back there. We came in kind of known as a group of game changers. We came in there and we wanted bold, positive change. And I think you're going to see that this session. It is a fiscal session, but we are leaning towards insurance, a lot of insurance bills that you're going to see that I think our group and the group above us are going to pass to get through there. And the people, that's been the main concern. Hey, we saw y'all fix crime. We saw y'all draw the maps. We saw y'all tackle some tax issues. And look, during the first of this year, we had a tragic accident in New Orleans. Then they hosted the Sugar Bowl, the Super Bowl. Then we had Mardi Gras. We were all pulling together. We were all holding the rope, going the same way. As a legislature, if we can continue to do that, I think we can see the growth and the positive change we're already seeing. Louisiana rankings are getting better. Let's keep it going. Let's keep moving forward. And, of course, let's keep eating great in District 68.
He is State Representative Dixon McMakin. Let's put you on the calendar a couple weeks from now for an update.
Thank you, sir.
Always. Here's news. I'm going to pull that question and answer on Woody Jenkins for a reel. That's a good answer. Kill the mics. We got to mic the hallway, y'all. We got a nice little lounge area out there now. Oh my God, to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Comfortable spot to having a disagreement.
I know. But we need like a TMZ setup. You know how TMZ does the thing where they're all hanging around the cubicle?
We'll take the camera.
But yeah, that's what we need out there. We need the TMZ setup with a.
You'll just see the camera slowly turn into the hallway.
So the reel for today is going to be me asking Dixon about why do you want to start a fight with Woody Jenkins? All right, we gotta. Do we have this guy's phone number? Mm-hmm. And ask him if it's Dr. Pasquier. Here, kill the mic. The short version of the forecast is rain. For the full forecast, here's WBRZ's McKay Cowan. Well, that's prosciutto. .736 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP holding at 70 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. So news comes out yesterday morning that Pope Francis has passed away. Want to talk a little bit about him, a little bit about his legacy, and a little bit about where we go from here. Want to welcome in Dr. Michael Pasquier from LSU. Dr. Pasquier, how are you, sir?
Hey, doing great this morning. How about you?
I am very well as well. So as background, Dr. Pasquier is an associate dean at LSU's College of Humanities and Social Sciences, a professor of religious studies and history, and you know what? I'm not even going to pronounce this professorship. What professorship?
It's a professorship in Christian studies. I study the history of Catholicism in the U.S. And maybe that's why I'm here. That's
exactly why we got you on the phone this morning to talk about Francis's place in history. I just open-ended. Your takeaways after yesterday were what?
Well, the takeaways are that this was a pope that I think left will leave a lasting impact on a personal level with a lot of Catholics around the world. Remember, we've got 1.4 billion Catholics around the world. And I also think he's going to leave a kind of institutional legacy. The Catholic Church is going to be different because of him. We're moving into a period where a pope is going to be elected, a new pope, and he has selected those cardinals, this college of cardinals, this group of men who will choose the next pope, all but 20 of them, all from 70 different countries, all around the world. It's a global church, and he has really kind of embraced that global aspect of the church, and which means that we, like last time when Francis was picked, we might be surprised again on where this next pope comes from.
I want to get back around to that at the back end of this if we could, but and the what's the old adage is if you are the front runner going into conclave, you are not going to be the pope. So what we can talk about that on the back end. I want to stick with Francis for just a little bit. As Americans, how difficult is it for us to remember that what the Pope says does not necessarily work in lockstep with American politics?
Yeah, Catholics in the United States, or just Americans in general, it's important to recognize this is a pope for the world, for a church that is global. And it is, I understand that, Catholics in the U.S., we're coming from not just Catholic perspectives, we're coming from American perspectives, maybe Democrat, maybe Republican, men, women, gay, straight. Like, we bring all of these perspectives to who we are as religious beings as well. And so while I think, Bill O'Reilly has a quote, I think either yesterday or today, saying that if he had one question to ask the Pope, he would say, you were wrong on immigration. Because the Pope, I think, once said, we need to build bridges, not walls, during the first Trump administration. And O'Reilly took issue with that. O'Reilly is an Irish Catholic guy. And I think O'Reilly's kind of missing the point there. First of all, we're talking about metaphors of bridges and walls.
Right.
And two, the Pope has a very important vested interest in, the dispossessed, the marginalized, and the poor, kind of calling upon these kind of basic tenets of the Gospels and the life of Christ. And it's probably unreasonable to expect a media personality like O'Reilly or an American politician to think in such strictly Catholic terms.
Well, and there's also the lost in translation part of it, where we tend to trust what the media has to say. When you actually read things that the Pope wrote, I mean, and like reading them in English, you're going to lose a little bit too. But that's the only language I really speak. But not trusting how it's reported on and going directly to the source, you're going to find, and this isn't like a hate on the media take here. This is there's nuance, there's compassion, there's a lot of thought put into what he actually does. It's not a pull quote in a headline.
No. And we got a 2,000-year-old church. The speed of the Catholic Church, is the speed of turtles and snails, right. And that's intentional, right? Yeah. And so when a pope is going to put out a statement or put out an encyclical or some kind of pastoral letter, there are, months, if not years, if not decades of thought and theological sophistication that's kind of built into that. And it's, like you said, it's not to ding on the media. Those are different animals, right? There's a news cycle. There's things that are happening minute by minute, hour by hour. So, I think it's unreasonable to expect the media to go that deep and that deep into, the theological underpinnings of this or that. But it's also, I think it's going to be important for us media consumers or media, representatives to do the job of kind of evaluating and taking stock on what's going to be happening over these next few weeks, but also with a kind of healthy dose of kind of patience and just kind of almost an appreciation for this is something that doesn't happen very often.
Right.
And to be witness to this is to be witness to history, regardless of, one's position on Francis as a person or as a church leader.
Broadening out from American, we're talking with Dr. Michael Pasquier, a professor of religious studies and Christian studies over at LSU. Dr. Pasquier, broadening out from America, I mean, I've seen plenty of mixed reaction from here in the States, but worldwide, is there that same mixed reaction, or is he that much more appreciated elsewhere?
Every country is going to be different, and every country has its own politics. I think that, people love him. a few people will hate him maybe, but or people are just kind of apathetic and just kind of in the middle. It's like, oh yeah, he's the Pope, even for a lot of Catholics.
Right.
I think your question kind of also kind of speaks to this northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere tilt in the direction of the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, historically, it's been a Europe-centered church, and it still is. Obviously, it's in Rome. That's the headquarters. But that sort of demographic shift away from places like Europe to places like Latin America and Africa is a reflection of the changing direction or the changing emphasis of the church. And that was epitomized in the selection of Pope Francis. He was from Argentina. He was the first Jesuit. There were these unique aspects to the now deceased Pope. And we could see that play out in the selection of this next Pope.
All right, so let's talk about that, where the next Pope goes from here. And that is there any connection between, like, if you have a liberal Pope, the next Pope will be conservative. If you have, I mean, we don't know about a Jesuit Pope because we got the first one, but
right.
Is there an ebb and flow to the papacy the same way we see, like, bringing it back to American politics is like, after you swing to the left for a while, then you're going to swing to the right. Is there the same with the papacy?
I think let's look at the last three, which is the last three popes who are most Americans would remember. John Paul II, who's, I think, considered, in retrospect, a moderate. Then we have Pope Benedict, who many would say was more conservative. And then we have Pope Francis, who many would say is liberal. And I think those terms don't always work within a strictly Catholic context, right. But it does help us think about not the theological changes, because Pope Francis didn't change the theology and the doctrines of the Catholic Church. What he did is he brought a different kind of style, a different kind of tone. Many would describe it more as pastoral. And so we're going to, and then the last thing I'd say about that is that all of these popes, they come from particular places, right? John Paul II came from Poland, coming out of the Cold War, out of World War II into the Cold War. That shaped him and how he would operate as Pope. Then we had Benedict. He was a theologian. He was more of an academic. He was from Germany. He also came out of World War II. And then we have Francis, who comes from Latin America, liberation theology, the politics and the wars that occur in South America, all of which is to say that all of those kinds of factors are going to play a part in the kind of the shape and the voice and the tone and the style of this next Pope, regardless of where he comes from.
What about the rest of us? The way, okay, let me re-ask the question. When conclave, when the doors close on conclave, how much of the way the rest of the world consumes religion affects what goes on behind those doors?
On the one hand, very little, right? Because once those doors close, in a perfect situation, these cardinals are going to come together and they're going to call upon the Holy Spirit to guide their decision making. Now, the reality is that there's some real politics going on prior to now, and certainly building up to and even during. But the folks on the outside, all they can do is pray at that point,
Right.
And the things that happen in there, like the greatest insight we have today is really the movie Conclave, and a couple of books and a couple of memoirs that have been written and statements that have been made by those who have participated in it. But it's a rare thing, and it's intentionally kept secret, for better or for worse.
All right. So as a Catholic, Conclave was really good until it wasn't. Can we dial back to angels and demons instead?
Yeah. I've got my own opinions on Conclave. It's a political drama, right?
It is, but there's no bleeping way. Like, stop.
Yeah, no, I would say that, it was a kind of a wish fulfillment of a lot of those who might describe themselves as liberal Catholics, the way that it ended. Mm-hmm. I tend to think that the Catholic Church is a little more conservative in nature, and the more the tigers than the lambs would have won out in that scenario. That's just me.
I hear you. We got a couple minutes left with Dr. Michael Pasquier from LSU talking about what's next in the Catholic Church. The reason I ask you about the outside looking in, the reason I ask you about the wants, needs, and desires of the the flock, if you will, is you see things like The Chosen, where you have an absolute movement to be people craving this want to get back to Christ, and I'm wondering like how that influence can make its way back through those locked doors.
Oh, I mean, all right. So, you mentioned Chosen, which is a kind of a pop cultural sensation right now.
Yeah.
And this introduction of, or this flourishing, this idea of Christ and returning to Christ, or loving, or being brethren or sister to Christ, kind of filtering in through televisions, through screens.
Mm-hmm.
This yearning, this want, I think that all of those men behind those closed doors do know that, and they love that, and they appreciate that. And I don't want to be so cynical to think that they're not, that they don't account for that, because at the end of the day, this is over 1 billion people who look to this church for guidance, a moral compass, a source of truth, an institution that's there to help people through suffering, because life is suffering, and religion, if anything, is about dealing with suffering, and they're going to take that. They're going to take that seriously. Of course, they will, and hopefully, as representatives, as shepherds of the flock, that arguably is central to their considerations as they choose the next pope. I certainly hope they do.
All right, before we get you out of here, now I told you I'd get you out by 50. I lied. We're keeping you until 52.
No, let's roll, man.
Okay, front runners. Who are the names we need to be on the lookout for?
Well, all right. So, not getting into names because we're going to forget all of them.
Of course,
but I do think I do, and they're all names that Americans are not accustomed to. But there are a couple of front runners in Africa, in Ghana and Guinea. There's one in Canada actually, named Uyet. There's one in Peru. There are a couple in Europe, and even a couple in Asia, which I think should kind of, saying, basically I just covered every continent.
You covered our continent, but not our country. One in Canada, but none in America.
Yeah, this has always been kind of, the theory is this, the United States as a nation has such an outsized, it's a superpower, right? In kind of the geopolitical realm, obviously. Mm-hmm. And there is a kind of, there's a kind of theory that both outside and inside the church, that to place an American bishop or cardinal in the papacy would just, it would be too much Americanness going on in the world to have one of the largest religious organizations be led by an American, and then have America basically leading the world. There isn't an appetite for that within the Catholic Church. That's the theory, and I think it's probably accurate. Mm-hmm. And so I just think that if you're a cardinal in the United States, I think you're probably just kind of out of Schlitz when it comes to your chances, generally speaking. Now, I just said that. Hey, who knows? It's possible, I guess. But I think it's unlikely.
I can get on board with that. Last one before we get you out of here, and that is, yes, you step off the reservation, you step off the continent of Europe to go to Pope Francis. The likelihood that they bring it back home to Europe, since it is a Eurocentric, the papacy has been Eurocentric to be sure. The likelihood, if you were to put a percentage on it, that it comes back to someone from Europe.
I'd give it maybe 25, 30%. Okay. I think it's definitely, it's in the ballpark.
Okay.
It's definitely in the ballpark. And Francis has picked those guys. So there's still a kind of kinship there, at least kind of in their direction, at least going in, and then they can be the man that they want to be.
He is Dr. Michael Pasquier. Let's get you back on when we get some white smoke and we can beat up on the new guy.
Can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Awesome. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Brian. Take care, man.
7:52 at Talk 107.3 FM. Quick break. We will continue next. Yes. What? Which one?
The one he did on the one he's trying to make it like it's the politician will control everything out there. But I had fun with him.
Oh, I can hear every word of it. only trying to do a show in here. No, we should be good. I don't. I mean, this will be your third time off of our stuff. John, you got it down? If you got it down,
I mean, you got to be able to connect. The first thing we got to do is get you got to connect.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. You do that from right there. But it's no way to test it or make sure we do it.
Can we test it within the 8 o'clock hour? Who was that came in?
The gentleman run for St. George. He's in a row.
Let's blow out this day in history.
You don't think I'll set him on back? It's up to y'all. I'm just telling you. We're going to have a limited time because you got 9 to 9:06.
Then, yes, let's.
You tell me, bro, because I don't want to. You want me to set this thing up front? Hey. Look, I trust you. It's just, it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous because if it don't, I'm going to have about 6. How long does it take you to hook the thing up to Lafayette? What I mean, does it take you 2 seconds to hook up the Comrex? You could do it and set it up for 8. We could do a test at 8. If y'all don't when y'all come back on? 6 after, 5 after? Can we try it at 8? I'll pop up the Facebook. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do Brian. I'll let him set it up right when you go off.
Yeah.
Set it up at 8 and then come in here. Let's do a test.
Yeah.
And
That's fine.
Got a test. We
Yeah.
You go with that? All right, I'm gonna call him and tell him at 8 o'clock. I'm gonna call him.
Okay.
And you go off right at 8. Right?
Yeah.
No, it was fun messing with him.
Did you already do this day in history? Let's knock out the top 2 things, top 2 birthdays. That way we can credit the sponsor. So yeah, well, he's awesome. He's and you talking about the bill with the. You know what? I'm so over Woody Jenkins. Anything to. $7:55 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Got a quick addition to make to the rundown for today. We're gonna go guest heavy in our next hour. Sean Weish is running for council in St. George. He is going to join us at 8:05, which means, John, that we need to bump up this day in history. And shout out to the folks at 5 Star Printing and Signs, right there next to Big Mike's in Denham Springs, 271-4096. Actually, you know what? It's all in the open. Here we go. And we got Moon and Dixon fighting in the hallway.
It's been wild.
I mean, you got Moon and Dixon fighting in the hallway. Little fisticuffs going on over there.
Oh man, it's been.
Is
wild.
that what that was?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we could close the door, but could they be a little louder? Hey, great conversation with Dr. Michael Pasquier. How great was he?
So good.
That was fun.
So good.
Yep. All right. What happened on this day in history?
Well, what about 1945?
What about it?
Upon being informed that a planned counterattack never happened, Adolf Hitler flies into a rage, denounces the German army, and concedes World War II is lost.
Bro, just 2 days after his birthday, too.
Man.
We weren't here on Sunday, obviously, for Easter Sunday, but April 20th is Hitler's birthday.
Ugh.
So just 2 days after his birthday.
Oh, you lost.
I know. That's a rough go of it, man.
Oh my goodness.
That's I can't. That's what you get, Hitler.
Yeah, exactly. 1981, more than $3.3 million is stolen from the First National Bank of Arizona in Tucson in one of the largest U.S. bank robberies in history.
Really?
So, that happens.
Okay.
People don't really rob banks anymore, do they? Do they?
Not on any high level. I mean, they'll
Right.
walk in and hand the clerk a note.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Mm.
That's
I know we're kind of making this really abbreviated. So, is there anything else you have for this day?
no.
All right. How about birthdays? Got Jack Nicholson here.
Jack Nicholson born in 1937.
Wow.
How about
yes,
it?
I see that. Wow. Actor Jeffrey Dean Morgan as well. Glenn Campbell. Look at this. Robert Oppenheimer. Also today.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Anybody else in your?
I got a couple more here. How about Vladimir Lenin?
Okay.
Born on this day in 1870. Right. Shout out. Where did he go here? I had him on. It's Miguel de Cervantes.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to deaths.
Cervantes. He wrote Don Quixote. No, but we're not done with birthdays yet because we got locals too.
Okay.
Saints tackle, now retired Saints tackle Ryan Ramczyk, and former Saints wide receiver Kenny Stills, both born on this day as well.
Nice.
Oh,
deaths here. Richard Nixon,
1994, was it?
I believe. Yep.
I almost missed former LSU running back Harvey Williams, born on this day in 1967.
Okay, yeah, good stuff there. But yeah, that was the only big death I have on my list.
Was Richard Nixon, and National Days, it's Earth Day.
Yep.
We're coming up on 8 o'clock at Talk 107.3 FM, which means we are due up for a break. When we come back, let's dive into St. George Council. Early voting is open right now. We'll talk about it next. All right. No. We're good. We're good. Is it 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4? Is he gonna? Where does he have to hear me from? Is it, you know what the board's supposed to be set up in over there for him to hear me? Yep, I'm gonna keep on talking the entire time, even if I'm not making sense or talking about anything. Maybe I should check in with the Facebook feed and see what. Yeah, I'm holding on. All right. Texting Bo. In the next break, yes.
I'm more worried about us.
Hey, Sean, let's roll.
I'm more worried about us.
No. That's why we want to.
What I'm gonna do is, at the next break, I'm gonna come in here and start setting up. Is that fair enough?
Absolutely.
Ready to go. Get that table over here real quick, and then y'all can know it.
Yep.
I'm telling you, we had a problem with that last time, and I don't think it was on y'all. And maybe we'll work it out after. All right. We'll get out of here. When are you breaking? When are you breaking that?
15. 14. No, come on in. Thereabouts. Close enough. Appreciate your flexibility here, man. We got a lot going on right now. Once the session's off and running, it's a mess. So. .806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. Going to be a busy hour. Going to be a guest heavy hour. Shaun Weiss running for council out in St. George, going to join us in exactly 60. Well, he's already joined us, but we're hopping in exactly 60 seconds. It's time for me to remind you about the folks at Cajun Soft Wash. Check them out online. CajunSoftWash.com. CajunSoftWash.com. Who needs Cajun Soft Wash? Anybody with a roof. You have a roof? You need Cajun Soft Wash. Why? Well, because algae, mold, and mildew, all these things eat away at your shingles. They eat away at the lifespan of your roof. And with their 100% safe and effective method of soft washing your roof, not trampling on it, not hitting it with a pressure washer, soft washing your roof, they can prolong the lifespan of your roof. And oh, by the way, with their drone technology, learn more at CajunSoftWash.com. With their drone technology, there is no spot that's unreachable anymore. Home or business, CajunSoftWash.com. All right. Early voting's already underway, if I'm not mistaken, for the May 3rd election. If you live in St. George, on your ballot, you're going to find Shaun Weiss. He's in with us now, running for city council. How are you, sir?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
No, glad to have you on here. Let's talk about you before we get into the why about running for council and whatnot. But let's talk about who is Shaun Weiss.
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved here in 2020. I'm a Navy veteran with a 25-year career in sales and finance. And I'm a father of 2 children. I have one that's in college in New York and one that's in first grade here at the Baton Rouge Center for Visual Performing Arts.
Moved here from where?
From Virginia.
Okay. All right. How you like it?
I love it.
How'd you land here?
My wife is from Louisiana.
Okay.
Up in Monroe.
Okay.
So I loved her so much. I wanted my daughter to be a Louisiana girl.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about what made you want to run for St. George City Council. Actually, before we do that, if you got here in 2020, that is kind of not everything was across the finish line just yet. We elections had been had, but a lot of fight was still going on. What was it like for somebody to move into the area and kind of pick up midstream as to everything that was happening?
To be honest, I was not aware.
Really?
Really. I heard about it, but they had lost, the appeal. So I didn't think much more of it. And that's something I'm a little bit ashamed of, that I didn't realize how much local politics affected my life.
Yeah.
Until last year when the Supreme Court decision came back, and I realized I had to start thinking, like, what am I going to do for school for my daughter? Are my taxes going to go up? What's going to happen? Then that's when I started asking questions and trying to find out more.
As far as school for your daughter's concerned, with BRCVPA, that would be one instance where we got to get Rick Edmonds on to talk about his bill.
Yes.
Because they're moving back home to Acadian Thruway for next year. And in St. George, you would need that crossover district right there.
Yes.
I would assume this is one of the things you're running on.
Yeah. Well, not exactly.
Okay.
Right now, I've had success with the BR Baton Rouge Parish Schools. So I just want to make sure that if we do our own school, that we're fully aware of what it's going to take in terms of the legacy cost, the millage,
Yeah.
and making sure we have special education programs for all our children.
All right. What's the platform? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What motivated you to want to run?
Just the effect of what local politics can do to you. My plan when I moved here was to pay off my house, retire, and have a home base for my kids. So I just want to make sure in this great opportunity of starting a new city that we start it right. That financially we're stable and we don't, go up in taxes unnecessarily.
We're talking with Shaun Weiss. She's running for an at-large council seat out in St. George. Your platform looks like what? Give us the top 3-4 issues that you're running on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's negotiating a fair intergovernmental agreement with the parish. It's creating a transparent budget that we can hold our officials accountable to, and then trying to wean ourselves off of sales tax revenue with public partnerships. So that way, as I retire, I don't get squeezed out because of taxes.
So as St. George is established, its sales tax is the only revenue source y'all have right now.
Yes.
And building this out moving forward, would you be looking at other, well, you talk about partnerships to keep costs down, but what would diversifying where your taxes come in from be part of that equation?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you only focus on the sales tax, then the working people and retirees get squeezed. But if we can bring in different businesses or bring in different funding sources from, say, the federal government, we have a lot more room to play with.
We're talking with Shaun Weiss. She's running for at-large council seat out in St. George. Election day is May 3rd. Early voting is open right now. Shaun, is this in your wheelhouse as you're running for this office? And I say this, I've attended a couple of council meetings and I've seen you in action there. And it feels like you kind of have a knack for this. Is this something that you're feeling you're adapting to?
I definitely feel that some of my experiences help out. I'm not a public speaker, so I think that bothers me a lot, but I speak out because I care about this community. I mean, it's been great for me.
Walk me through the process of running here, because we're not talking there is no incumbency. I mean, even when you talk about appointed members, whatever, but there is no incumbency here. Walk me through the process of everybody hopping on the ballot at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be an interesting future for us, because at this point, everybody's going to be up for re-election at the same time unless we change something. So I believe that a lot of different people are running for a lot of different reasons. And I think that diversity is good, because the only way we can all be heard is if we speak our minds. And people that want a school are going to be represented. People that want low taxes are represented. So it's a little crazy trying to figure out what the future is going to be, but I think it's a good crazy.
Give me some grades on St. George thus far, as the interims have gotten in there, the appointed folks have gotten in there, the work that they're doing right now. What are you seeing right? What are you seeing wrong? What would you do differently?
Absolutely. Because they were all appointed, that was done to make things move fast, to get things accomplished in a quick manner. But now that we're having our election, I think what needs to happen going forward is just openness. A lot of people don't know what's happening, when it's happening, and why it's happening. So I think as a small, fifth largest city, but as our community, we can share more of why we're doing what we're doing and allowing more input.
Privatization, you had mentioned earlier.
Yes.
Where would you take that within the city of St. George? What aspects of city government need privatization?
That's a great question. And that's why the intergovernmental agreement is so important, because until we find out how much we're paying for services, it's hard to shop those services out to find out what we could do better at. Because certain services work well in a geographic area and some services work better per person. So until we find that out, it's hard to know.
Couple more quick ones. We got about 2 minutes left with Shaun Weiss. Shaun Weiss running for city council, the at-large council seat out in St. George. The home rule charter fell short last time around. Where were you on that? And what were some of your takeaways for the people's response?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are a lot of great things in the home rule charter. I love the initiative and the referendum part of it that allowed people to introduce laws or take out laws that don't work. I think it would have been a good starting point had the salaries not been so high, because that's the biggest thing, is that if you're going to have a professional manager to help you run your city, you can't expand all the other costs also. So it's one or the other.
Last one before we get you out of here, and I greatly appreciate you coming down this morning to talk a little bit. And that is your obviously a city council race is going to be a lot of grassroots, a lot of door to door.
Yes.
The conversations, walk me through a little bit about the conversations that you've had along the way. What are people saying about getting the city started?
Most people just are not aware. And that's the sad part. So the fact that I'm able to, inform people of what's happening and keep them informed is great. And a lot of people just want things to start off on the right foot.
Right.
And part of that is just letting people know why we're doing it. So openness, transparency is important.
Is there, I mean, aside from physically knocking on people's doors, is there a way to get them engaged? I hear this in so many different levels, especially when it comes to local government. It's like people just they're just not engaged.
Yeah.
How do we lead the horse to water?
It is the knocking of doors. People want a relationship.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, social media, TV, it doesn't do it anymore. They don't trust you because everybody has learned the magic formula to make things sound good. But when they can see you, talk to you, and feel you, they get more engaged and involved.
The website is Vote for Sean, the number 4, Sean, SHAUNN, 2 N's in Sean. He is Sean Weish, running for city council at large seat out in St. George. I appreciate you stopping by this morning.
No, thank you for having me.
8:16, rolling over to 8:17. We're running a little bit long here. Let's talk with Parole Project next.
Oh, thank you so much. No, that was excellent. I appreciate you guys.
We still may try it.
And yeah, I popped into a council meeting. And my takeaway was like, you didn't want to be there, but you felt like you needed to be there.
Yes.
And that just somebody standing in the back, kind of observing, is like, okay. And then I was talking to Ryan Heck afterwards, and he was the one that said I needed to talk to you.
Oh, great.
So I've known Heck for years.
Oh, wonderful.
So he ran for council on Dare, not in St. George, but in EBR.
Yeah, he's been really encouraging.
He's he knows what he's doing. He knows. He might seem like a crazy person from time to time, because he is, but he knows his shit.
He's crazy for the right reason.
By the way, you say the same thing about me.
Well, for the right reasons. So I appreciate you coming in.
Man. Thank you. You have a good day.
You too.
Crazy for the right reason. That's a compliment. It was
right.
Nice to meet you, brother. Good luck to you. I'm in trouble. That makes me mad because I'm about 90% sure it's on IN. And it's so easy. It should be so easy, bro.
Both y'all or just Andrew? Okay. And yeah, my bad on having John in the tweet and not you. It's all good. I was telling Sean, thank God he moved up because I double booked. But once legislative session gets started, like at the same time that everybody needs everything is the time that like all my focus is over there. So totally I've been an absolute mess the last 2 weeks.
That's just because he had one day with me night.
Yellow Moon?
Yeah. Day with me can do that.
Renee, he's going to come to town every Tuesday. So
just told him 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Come on with me because he's got a big base.
Yeah.
Since you already told him he was crazy, he might change his mind, right?
It's a controlled burn. All right, PF Chang's
trying to teach Brian some of his craziness. He's doing a good job of not learning.
That's
Teach me how to unlearn a lesson.
Yep.
With me, it's always bad.
Yeah, like 10 seconds. And we got a longer break at 8:30, so you've got plenty of time. Yeah. Shep Boys has generously donated items autographed by former LSU star Justin Jefferson for our Dreams Come True Radiothon. Donate between now and April 30th to enter for a chance to receive one of 2 pieces of priceless memorabilia. 2 prizes will be awarded to separate contributors. Visit talk1073.com to donate today. Second Chance Week's going on right now. We're going to talk about that. Andrew Hundley from the Parole Project's in with us. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
No, glad to have you. It's been too long. And that's on me. Y'all are doing amazing work, and it's about time we bring everybody up to speed. Before we get into what Second Chance Week is, for those who are unfamiliar with the Parole Project, let's talk. What is it? How did it get started, and where are we now?
Sure. It started in 2016 when I came home from prison. We're a nonprofit organization that works to help people make the most of their second chance. People who want to come back into the community and rebuild their lives, we want to be there for them. So we help them lay a foundation through housing, employment, and mentoring, help people become good neighbors and good citizens.
How many folks have been affected so far? How many people have you been able to take and redirect onto the right path as opposed to being, going down that recidivism path?
Sure. So when we call someone a client, we're not talking about someone who knocked on our door one day and we helped them fill out a form and sent them on their way. It's pretty intensive. We start working with people before they release from prison, and then meet them at the front gate to pick them up. But we've served over 600 people since 2016. Fewer than 3% of our clients have returned to prison. It's because we invest a lot in people. Mm-hmm. We screen them before their release. We pick people who've worked to rebuild their lives while they're incarcerated. You can't start to rehabilitate yourself after you come home. You have to make that change beforehand, but we're there to work with them, understand their needs, help them understand what they need to do when they come home, to make the most of that second chance. And we start day one. We don't tell people, hey, come knock on our door in 6 weeks whenever you're in crisis. It starts immediately.
What are their needs?
So, as I said, 3 main things. A lot of people, have people aren't cookie cutter molds. So there is some individualized concerns, but our formula is we want to give people safe housing when they come home from prison, because if they go back right to the same neighborhood where they got in trouble, they'll probably see old friends, run into the same issues that they ran into. We want to give them that safe housing, help them find stable employment, not a part-time job, not a seasonal job, but good, stable employment that matches a skill that they probably earned while they were incarcerated. If not, we're going to get them some training to get them into a good job, working towards a career. And then finally, mentoring and social bonds. We want people to have surround themselves with a good network. We're teaching our clients how to network, but also get involved in the community. We want them to be volunteers. So many people who went to prison had an impact on this community or their communities before they went. When they come home, we want them to have a different kind of impact, give back. They're invested in their community, whether it's, hey, going to an AA meeting, joining a church, participating in a volunteer project, community beautification. They see themselves as part of a community, and then they truly work towards building public safety.
We got Andrew Hundley from Louisiana Parole Project in with us. Or from Parole Project in with us. Andrew, okay, so of those 3, which is the hardest?
Well, it's dependent on each person. So as it relates to housing, sometimes someone who finds a job, they're earning money, they can find a place to live. I'll be honest with you, for landlords who are willing to take a chance on someone, rent an apartment, the background check is not our biggest barrier. It's the credit and lack of rental history. So oftentimes we work with landlords, say, take a chance. We're putting our name on the line. We're vouching for this person. But and then on employment, I'll be honest with you. If someone takes a chance on one client, then an employer will end up taking a chance on a second or a third. But it's getting employers to take a chance on someone. And look, I totally understand people. They want to make sure that they have reliable employees. They want to make sure that they're not bringing someone in that's going to cause problems within their workplace. We heavily screen our clients, and we're providing them support, beyond. We're not just dropping them off to the employer and saying, good luck with it. We're working with them. And then finally, as far as reintegrating people into the community, it's just a lot of work with finding mentors who are willing in the community to continue to provide this person support, encouragement. Look, all of this isn't a handout, it's a hand up.
Right.
The idea is we want people to work towards self-sufficiency, not be dependent on safety nets, but actually contribute back to the community after they come home.
Talk with Andrew Hundley from Parole Project. All right. What is Second Chance Week, and how does it play itself out?
Sure. So Second Chance Week's just an opportunity for us to do some media. Look, 365 days a year, we're doing our jobs. We're focusing on helping people rebuild their lives. We take 1 week a year where we're active talking about ourselves in the community. I often tell people who say, I've never heard of Parole Project. I tell them, you've never heard of us because we're doing a good job.
Right.
Because if we weren't doing a good job, you'd be reading about us. But once a year, we have to tell people, and it's an opportunity for us to talk to employers, talk to landlords, talk to community groups about how being invested in second chances is good. Once again, this isn't a, hey, let's let everyone out, kumbaya moment. It's truly, hey, people who've worked to better themselves. If we want to improve public safety, we need to be thoughtful about how we're reintegrating people into the community, because prison on its own is not fixing people. Right. People don't go to prison for 5, 10, 20 years and come home and they're, everything's going to be perfect. For those people who've changed their mindsets, we want to, create opportunities for them when they first come home. So 6 months, 1 year later, that they're actually providing, a lot back to their community. We like to say from tax burdens to taxpayers.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, shouldn't that be shouted from every rooftop out there, is that we are the most incarcerated state and the most incarcerated nation, and redirecting folks, getting them on a path towards working is getting them a path towards independence. And it benefits all of us. And we're starting to see a number of programs grow on that front. I believe we were talking about the Murphy J. Foster program the other day. How much do y'all lean on things like that in the legislature?
Sure. Yeah. So we work with, partners like Louisiana Association of Business and Industry, Greater New Orleans, Inc., other industry leaders to promote not only, individually on the micro with employers, asking them to take second chances, but on legislation that's just common sense about how do we make small investments on the front end to help people from not coming back. I can tell you that people who have vocational degrees, and we're pushing, our clients who are coming home, if you didn't learn a trade while you're in prison, let's hey, get a job, and maybe it means you're going to take night school, get that trade so you can work towards having a career. Many clients who've gone into welding trades, auto mechanics, carpentry, through those skills that they're learning at the community college level. And those people don't go back to prison.
Right.
So it's just MJ Foster and the vocational program. I would tell anyone, go back, scan the Advocate, find the last 100 arrests. None of those people had vocational trades.
When you can throw a 970 batting average out there, if 3% of your folks are, if fewer than 3% are recidivists, that's batting 970 is going to put you in the Hall of Fame every time for sure. In our last minute, what do y'all need?
So what we need is, how people can contribute. One, of course, we always take, financial donations. Our organization runs based on support from members of the community. But if you have a car to donate, if you have clothing to donate, if old furniture you want to donate, so someone has a bed or a coffee table or a dining room table for their first apartment, we take all donations to help people restart their lives. And finally, we have a prison program. Most people have never been to a prison. They're not interested in visiting a prison. But if you are, you want to learn what happens in a prison, how people prepare themselves. We tour people in prisons in Louisiana, in the capital area, so they could learn about what people are doing before they reenter the community.
The website is paroleproject.org. Second Chance Week going on all this week, paroleproject.org. He's Andrew Hundley. I appreciate a couple minutes this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are coming up on news, traffic, weather. We continue on the back end after weather. We are going to dive back in on the LSU front, talk a little nursing school next. Whew, moving way too fast today. Always appreciate it. Thank you. Kill Mike's. Kill. We are looking at rain today. It's just a matter of when. If you got any errands to knock out, you might want to knock them out, let's say before noon, because what we're looking at today is a pretty significant chance of rain starting around 2 p.m. and continuing on through the evening hours till about 8 p.m. before it's all said and done. 2 till 6 is when it's looking like it's going to be its heaviest, and then it should scale back a little bit on into the night. Your high today is getting up to 83. Your low tonight down to 67. Now, another 60% chance of rain is in the forecast for tomorrow and Thursday before it scales back on Friday. Your highs are going to be in the mid 80s all week long, upper 80s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We might even top 90. Looking ahead to next week, not really seeing any rain in the forecast until you get to the back half of next week, Wednesday or Thursday. Right now, we are looking at maybe a little bit of light mist out there if the fog hadn't burned off. 73 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. Coach Beth Torina and the LSU Tigers return home to host McNeese State this evening, 6 p.m. Tiger Park, weather permitting, of course. If there's any changes to that, we will let you know. Then they're going to welcome in the Florida Gators to town for a 3-game series starting Saturday afternoon at 1, Sunday at 5, and Monday night at 6 p.m. Your home for LSU softball is Talk 107.3 FM. So, press release came out the other day. LSU is launching a new on-campus nursing and Masters of Public Health and Epidemiology programs right here in Baton Rouge. Joining us now to talk about this would be Dr. Jennifer Manning, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Programs. Dr. Manning, good morning. Welcome to Talk 107.3. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good morning. How are you?
I am doing very well as well. So let's talk about the new programs. What's out there?
So in the fall of 2025, we are very excited that the BSN traditional program will be admitting students on the LSU A&M campus in Baton Rouge.
So
this program is so the School of Nursing in New Orleans has been in existence for 90 years. Mm-hmm. We opened a campus in Shreveport on the Shreveport campus in 2023, and we're really excited to extend opening a third campus in Baton Rouge in fall of 25.
What kind of demand, what kind of need has been there to bring this to Baton Rouge?
There has been a tremendous need nationwide, statewide, and in all of the areas of the state for more registered nurses. Thousands of nurses are needed across the nation, and Louisiana is no exception. So it is very exciting for LSU to play a role in extending the workforce and adding more registered nurses to the area to help with the healthcare needs of for the population.
Are we meeting demand? I mean, are there enough people stepping up to get into nursing?
We have lots of people who want to be nurses. We have challenges in meeting that need. We certainly don't have enough nursing faculty. A lot of people in the clinical setting, they get higher pay rates, more than teachers per se. And so pulling people into the faculty role is one of the limiting factors. But as a School of Nursing, we try to offer as many incentives as we can and support faculty and recruiting faculty. So I would say we do our very best, but there is much more work to be done.
Where is this field headed? Because I feel like everything in the medical field is wide open to just continue to expand. Where specifically with nursing, where are we headed?
We are headed, if we will continue to do a great job of making the job for nurses a place where you can grow your career, where you can have a lifelong career that is rewarding and meeting the needs of your patients, we are headed in a very bright future. The population needs us tremendously, and many more nurses are needed to fill that need. So where we're headed is we are filling gaps in healthcare as it relates to emergency care, inpatient, outpatient settings, and even advancing those nurses to become specialists, such as nurse practitioners. We are heading in the right direction, but we need a whole lot more nurses to join us.
We're talking with Dr. Jennifer Manning, Associate Dean for Undergraduate Programs, about the new nursing program coming to LSU right here in Baton Rouge. Now, you'll start off small. I mean, if we're being completely honest, we're starting off very prudent to be sure. 30 students in the first semester, is that right?
That's correct.
And then growing how?
We plan to increase the enrollment to 60 students and that we will admit in spring of 2026. And then we will admit 90 students in fall of 2026. So that'll put our enrollment in the program within a year to close to 200 students. So it'll grow quite rapidly, but it gives us a chance to make sure that the quality is at an exceptionally high rate. As a nationally ranked nursing school in the country, we want to make sure that the students have the best learning experience possible. So that means that we need to start a little small so that we can recruit the best faculty, we can have the best classrooms, the best labs, and have them train in the best units in the greater Baton Rouge area.
All right, talk about getting folks in and then getting them to work as well. What's that nursing track look like? How long are they in the program?
They will be in the program for 3 years. They will attend every fall and every spring. They will have their summers off, but we do offer some classes if they want to lighten their load in the fall or spring. The students will move through various courses. They'll learn how to do head-to-toe assessments on patients, and then they'll move into adult care, and then they'll start to look at specialty areas like pediatrics, women's health, mental health, and then outpatient population health care. They will transition all the way through those as they go through the 3 years of the program. And in their final semester, they will be paired one-on-one with a registered nurse in the greater Baton Rouge area for 180 clinical hours to learn how to really be a nurse working with a registered nurse on those units. Overall, students will complete 900 clinical hours through that 3 years of training. And that does not include the several simulation courses where they can go in the lab and practice delivering care, and they're in a good, safe place where they can make some mistakes. And then, of course, they have many lecture courses where they take lots of exams. The first semester, they will have a cadaver lab course where they will work within anatomy courses with human cadavers so they can learn the basics of dissecting and all the different components of the human body.
We get Dr. Jennifer Manning with us for a couple more minutes, talk about the new nursing track over at LSU. So this is going to be a little bit on campus and a little bit in hospitals as well. On campus,
Yeah.
physically, where are y'all going to be?
Physically, right now, we will be in the Hugh P. Long, they called it the Fieldhouse building, and we share that with kinesiology. So we're really excited, right in the middle of campus for our lectures, our classrooms, and our labs. And then the hospitals, we're going to be all over the greater Baton Rouge area. We're really excited to partner with LCMC, and they have already identified and secured some spaces for us to go into various clinical settings to meet the needs of the program.
Yeah, the press release had mentioned Women's and Our Lady of the Lake specifically.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, excuse me. Women's and Our Lady of the Lake. Thank you.
The buy-in from the community, the buy-in from the medical community has got to be an important part of this. How much emphasis was put on making sure you're getting what you're needing from the hospitals?
We are from day one. So we've been working on this for quite some time, and we had buy-in and support very early on. And I'm really excited to say the LSU A&M campus is just arms open and lots of support, and as well as from the hospitals in the area. They have been very supportive, asking us what our needs are, and we're really now planning well beyond the fall semester. We're starting to look into 2026 to make sure that we have the space that we need for a growing student body in the classroom, in the lab, and in the hospital. So it has been a great experience in partnering with these various groups.
All right, there's one piece of news we got today. There's another one coming out as well. Talking about a new Masters of Public Health and Epidemiology program. Tell me all about that one.
So that one I do not have a whole lot of information about because I'm over the BSN nursing program. So I'm hoping y'all have someone on the call coming for that one.
Well, we're going to have to set up a separate call for that one, and we will follow up with it at a later time. In the meanwhile,
sure.
If folks want to learn more about the nursing track, where do they need to go?
They need to go to www.lsuhsc.edu and then click on nursing and then go to undergraduate nursing. This is the traditional BSN program, and you will see New Orleans, Shreveport, and Baton Rouge campus options. When you click on the Baton Rouge campus option, you'll see the director there. Her name is Dr. Deborah Boyd. She's already on site at LSU, meeting actively with students and advising them on how to apply for the program. So lsuhsc.edu.
Dr. Jennifer Manning, we appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You do the same. 846, rolling over to 847 to talk 107.3 FM WBRP. We got a couple minutes before we hit your money now. I do want to cover another news story before then as well. But before that, I want to remind you about P.F. Chang's. You know where to find them. Corporate Boulevard, Town Center. Look for the giant golden horse. You know what I'm going to push your way because I do so every day. The sesame beef and or the Mongolian beef. Actually, let me step aside real quick and remind you about the firecracker shrimp. Franz was in last week for Legally Served, and he had mentioned that he door dashed the firecracker shrimp. I'm like, good to know. You've got a favorite as well. I mean, my favorite is the sesame beef and then spice it up a little bit. My wife's favorite is the chicken lettuce wraps. The firecracker shrimp, nothing wrong there. A good little bit of pop to them. A lot of spice, a lot of flavor as well. It's not just spice. When they talk about the firecracker shrimp, they're talking about making sure that when you bite into the shrimp, yeah, you're getting that heat, but there's a little bit of sweetness there to it, and you get the full flavor of all the peppers they throw in, the bell peppers and the other vegetables as well. P.F. Chang's, Town Center, Corporate Boulevard. Look for the giant golden horse. Hey, John, I know we bumped past we blew past earlier the story on the cigarettes.
Right.
I want to go back to it now if we could.
Yeah.
Grab 10, 11, and 12 if you don't mind from our news partners at the Louisiana Radio Network. House Ways and Means Committee is going to hear a bill that would increase the tax on cigarettes by $1. New Orleans Representative Mandy Landry is the author of the legislation. As it stands, Louisiana ranks among the states with the lowest tobacco taxes. Landry believes that this is time for a change.
Well, the last time the tax on cigarettes had been raised was by my predecessor, Walt Leger, in, I believe it was 2016. So it hasn't been raised in almost a decade.
Is there a point where you look, and I'm not a smoker, but is there a point where you don't look at this and just say, we're just going to break smokers' backs? You're either going to quit or you're going to just keep paying on taxes on top of taxes. Landry, who's known for her progressive stance on health policy, argues higher tobacco taxes have consistently led to lower smoking rates in other states.
The research is crystal clear. It shows that when you raise the price a fairly significant amount, people start smoking less, and many actually take advantage of, there's many free programs to quit. So they have more money in their pocket, and the state as a whole is healthier.
Okay, but there's also this side factor here where smokers, by and large, and I'm not trying to paint anybody with a broad brush, but smokers, by and large, earn about 20% less in income than non-smokers. So really, you're punishing poorer people here. That has to factor in at some point. Opposition is forming for this. Critics claim the tax hike will burden those low-income smokers. Landry remains resolute, seeing the bill as a bold step towards a healthier Louisiana.
I'm going to be talking to more of my colleagues today and tomorrow, and I think it has a pretty decent chance of going through, especially when you see the sort of the financial aspects of how healthcare costs do go down.
But that's such a broad, you know what? We got to pause. Here's your money now. I'm gonna get myself out of Moon's way. Dixon and Michael are gonna be featured today. and I'll hit you up with headlines after. And for that reel, I want that reel with me asking Dixon why he wants to fight Woody Jenkins. Fight Woody Jenkins. What did we have for the last segment here? I know I wasn't doing. Yeah.
Okay. Come back and do it for y'all. The damn producer don't know what he's doing.
That's look. I fight this battle every day.
No, man, I can promise you. 90% sure it's all right. 90%. I'm giving y'all 10%, but I got to finish. Come here because all works now. Yeah, it's just so much better having bronze mics. It's just no headset if they don't need to get a guest. You want this. I'm bad about y'all for these 2 weeks. To a wild game. A bunch of people at the LSU.
Okay.
And then next week I got to do something. Well,
I'll be there. Yeah, I'm gonna get Gordy over there too.
It got me speaking. I don't know how long or whatever. And then I got to come back. Scott's got his deal on the 30th, and I'm gonna come back. I'm starting to come here now.
I got Scott and Blake coming on Monday.
But do you?
Yeah.
By the way, you want to go to the head round and read the story he wrote on me being Scoville. Scott did a better job because Scott just said I know both of them. That's probably not what happened.
I can't go to the hayride because there's so many pop-up ads. He's got to find a better way to sell.
I don't understand pop-up ads because it gets more people off.
Right.
Most people would pop-up. Am I wrong?
I move on. I don't even.
Pop-up ads, like that was the whole thing like years ago.
Right.
Nobody read them, so they got rid of them.
Right. So it's but it's not 1998 anymore.
Well, I was a young man.
Win free tickets to the WNBA preseason game at the PMAC on May 2nd. Watch Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky take on the Brazil national team. Enter the Show Us Your Angel giveaway for a chance at premium seating and an autographed Angel Reese basketball. Sign up at talk1073.com. Of course, that Chicago Sky roster. I mean, when we started the promotion, this was we didn't know this yet, but that's Chicago Sky roster, and now includes Haley Van Lith. So A couple of former Tigers going to be coming back into the PMAC to be sure. We've got a couple minutes left before we hand off to Moon Griffon. He's actually in studio here in Baton Rouge today. Always looking forward to it, having him in town more often. It is fun when we get together, to say the least. The State Department of Health has now confirmed, and we talked about this with Jeff Crouere earlier in the show, 2 measles cases in the New Orleans area. The second case was identified through contact tracing. Dr. Ralph Abraham is the state's Surgeon General. He said in a news conference yesterday, this was an older case and it's not infectious.
You're generally infectious 4 days before the rash and 4 days after. But on our contact tracing, because of the efficiency and the effectiveness of our contact tracing team, we're going to follow these people for 21 days.
But where does it go from there? We contact trace through one. Are we going to see a connection to potentially more? Dr. Abraham says, like the first patient, the second patient likely contracted measles while traveling abroad. He says, while the 2 cases are related, it's unclear how they're related. Abraham says the first patient was unvaccinated, and while it's likely the second patient was also unvaccinated, he's not entirely sure. Abraham is urging those who have not already done so to get vaccinated against the measles.
We were front and center. We like that MMR vaccine. We recommend it for our children, and it is a good vaccine. We want them to get it.
But that's where the story is going to go, right? That's where the headlines are going to lead us, is a vaccination argument, an argument about the danger of not being vaccinated and whatnot. And as we're seeing more and more cases of measles, and it popped up in Texas earlier this year, we've got 2 confirmed in Louisiana. Over in Texas, 600 people have been infected. And sadly, tragically, 2 unvaccinated children died. Now, nationwide, right now, that number is somewhere around 800 cases. Deputy Health Secretary Dr. Pete Krogan says, take extra precautions if you believe you or a loved one is infected.
If you're concerned about exposure or having symptoms, to call ahead, because we don't want patients just showing up to a clinic or a hospital where they can expose others.
My level of concern is when this discussion gets to be more than you, your spouse, and your child's pediatrician, things get muddied. And we learned this so vividly through COVID that the more you can have everyone having an opinion about your own health and the health and safety of your own child, the more opinions you allow into that discussion, the worse the outcome's going to be. All right, we got to get out of here. Moon's next. Facebook, we got to go.